Okay, there we are. All set. Okay, timing analysis spreadsheet for pre-post timestamp videos. This arose earlier this year when we received a number of videos from various cameras, more specifically the Canon and the IOTA cameras, which have the timestamp capability. And we had to extract some event times from those videos. The technique was pioneered by Scotty Degenhard that he used with his multi-station deployments. He made quite extensive use of those cameras, and he set up his own routine to get the times from them and show everybody that the times were accurate by looking at the quartz crystal and all that kind of stuff in the camera. A lot of commonly used digital camcorders have this capability, and we have scripting software associated with AVI Synth that can be used to get that timestamp visible to us. We needed to do this because Scotty's spreadsheet that he used for his analysis was very well known to him, but wasn't too well known to anybody else. And so now we want to set something up so anybody can take their own timestamp videos and run their own analysis. Hopefully this will save a lot of work for other people, and that's the reason why we set this up. All right, so Tony and I took the original spreadsheet that Scotty had created and tried to do some figuring out as to what was going on, what kind of calculations he was making. I drafted a preliminary spreadsheet, and Tony and I hashed through some details and made it better. Got it working pretty well. We sent it off to John Talbot, who is an Excel expert, and he fine-tuned it, took care of some issues we had with formatting and the timestamp and all that kind of stuff, and we came up with a final product that we are going to show you today. I then create a Word document that describes in pretty good detail the procedures that you need to use along with the spreadsheet to get accurate times from your video timed, your time-stamped video. So here's the process. Very briefly, you need to download and install AVI Synth 2.5. The downlink is on the asteroidal pages, both I think worldwide and North American. So go there, get it installed. You need to go, while you're on that AVI Synth download page, you need to go search out, and I think it's under the plugin category, a plugin called DV Info. Self-explanatory. It gets the information off the DV video, digital video. Install that, place that in the same directory. You need to have preferably 3 videos. A pre-video that's time-stamped with time insertion, a post-video that's time-stamped with time insertion, with video time insertion, and the event video, which will only be time-stamped. You need to create an AVS script which will read these videos. And I'll show you, there's a sample one that we have available to you. The AVS scripts are used with LI Movie to input the information needed for the spreadsheet. You go through the process. It's basically a pre-process, a post-process, and an event process, and you get the information for the spreadsheet in order. Right. So the first thing to do is we need to associate the timestamp with a universal time. So we open the pre-video in LI Movie, and again, that's using the AVS file. And when you do that, you'll see the timestamp. In this case, it's an IOTA VTI timestamp. And you'll see the reading from the camcorder, the digital video recorder. You want to use the forward one frame button to scroll through this video one frame at a time until the next whole second is displayed on the timestamp. So in this case it reads 6 hours, 26 minutes, 21 seconds p.m. on Thursday. Right? This was scrolled through until I got to that exact moment in time. If I go back one frame, it reads 20 for the second counter. I want 21. I want to know the exact next second. When I do that, then I can read the universal time from the timestamp, from the video time inserter. Sorry, wrong phrase. I can read the actual universal time from the video time inserter from that frame. So you need both times. You need the UTC time and you need the timestamp time. The one at the top should flip to the next whole second. The 6:26:20 goes to 6:26:21. That's when you record. You record 6:26:21 and then you record the universal time down below. Next, you open the post video and you do exactly the same thing. You scroll through the video and it can be any time at the top. You scroll through a video until that 9:13:29 becomes 9:13:30 exactly, until it skips to the next second mark. And it doesn't matter what time that is. You can pick any time you want to. You read that time and you read the universal time from the time inserter. Same as before, exactly the same, just on the post video. It is expected at some point that you've analyzed the event video with a program such as Ocular. You can do live movie, doesn't matter, but you'll get a CSV file, and from that you can use Ocular to get a event frame. So you can get the D event frame and the R event frame. So that in this case, the D event occurred at frame number 284.8 and the R event occurred at 554.1. If you use live movie, you might just get whole frame numbers. In any event, you need the frame numbers. All right. Now we're going to go back to live movie and open up our event video. And as it says right here, let me get my pointer here. You want to find the frame on live movie. You want to find the frame in the event video where the timestamp increments to the next second before this one, before the 284.8. Because you need to be ahead of that. So let me show you what that looks like. It's a little confusing at this point, but it's not when you get around to doing it. I'm checking my cursor here. Ocular showed a D at frame 284.8. So I moved to a spot before 284.8 where the time changed. Notice here that the time changed to 7:13:30, the next whole second, at frame 255.5. That's before 284, and it's the next whole second. So now I record 7:13:30 a.m. because that's the next whole second. And then I find the difference in frame numbers between 255 and 284.8. So the event occurred at 7:13:30 a.m. and 29.8 frames later. We need both of these values. You repeat the same process for R. From Ocular, R movie, or the R frame was 554.1. I moved to 525, because that's when this time stamp incremented to the next whole second. It became 7:13:39 exactly at frame 525. So I record 7:13:39 a.m. I also record the fact that the actual occultation occurred 554.1 minus 525, 29.9 frames later. I keep these two times. And now the fun part, the spreadsheet. Come on, cursor. Trying to get my cursor to come back for you. Oh, I guess it's not going to work. All right, I'll be that way. For your own purposes, you can put things like the observation date and the asteroid and observer and the video file frame and all that kind of good stuff at the top. But the entry values, the entry points are right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is where you enter information. All these other cells are calculations and things you're going to need later on. You can see here we've told you what to enter. So in step 1, you're going to enter the pre-UT from the video, the pre-universal time that you took from the video. Date and time are important. 18 hours universal time must be entered as 6 p.m. And run it by you again. 18 hours universal time, as an example, must be entered as 6 p.m. Then you do the same thing for step 2. Now you take that pre-timestamp that corresponds with the universal time and place that in cell number 2. Get my cursor to work. To repeat the 2 steps, steps 3 and 4 are the same for the post video. Step 5 is that whole second timestamp that we got from the video recording preceding the disappearance. Step 6 is the number of frames past that whole second timestamp that the occultation actually occurred, the D time actually occurred. Step 7, I should have backed up, but I will in a minute. Step 7 is the whole second timestamp from the video preceding reappearance. And step 8, number of frames past that whole second that the R actually occurred. Now 9, I should have started right from the beginning because that's where the directions are and I didn't read my own directions. Before starting, make sure any entry in step 9, which is cell B9, I'm sorry, B14, it's step 9, but it's cell B14 on the spreadsheet. Be sure that is empty. So you just go to that cell and delete, hit delete key. I didn't say it because it's obviously empty right here, but if you use a spreadsheet over and over and over again, that cell might have something in it. The reason being is the spreadsheet goes through calculations and it ends up doing some circular reasoning problems. And so if that is not empty, these values won't yield anything. I found out later that you can actually go, when you get all done, you can actually go in there and make it and delete it and then recalculate and it'll work. But it's better to make sure that is empty before you start. I'll show you a completed spreadsheet here. So here's a completed spreadsheet. Hopefully you can see some of the information. It'll be easier to read if you get the actual presentation. But you can see up here the date structure, and this is important. The date structure and time structure has to be this way. And it doesn't show here, but even, let's see, I'm trying to read it myself. July 25th, 2013. And then the time, it looks like 18:26:21.754. If you click on that cell in the spreadsheet from within Excel, up in the entry section at the top, you will see that it's in AM/PM format. So the AM/PM format in the entry cell at the top will show up properly, whereas in the data cell at step 1, 2, 3, 4 will not. It'll show up as 24-hour time. But I've entered all the information that we got from that sample before. And again, it's easier to go back to the sample and take a look at it. Previous to this entry, cell at step 9, which shows 19.46. Now that was empty, and the 19.46 showed up in the green cell next to it. So step 9, the yellow cell was empty, but the green cell next to it had 19.46307937. That's a consequence of the calculation. You just type that value, whatever's in the green cell, you type it into step 9. And when you do that, directly underneath it, you'll have the D time and the R time show up. The rest of the information, the rest of the cells you don't really know. If you want to find the drift that's occurring, that's the green cell. That's the recorder drift in parts per million between the timestamp before and after. All right. What you'll need a blank spreadsheet like the one I showed. You should have the Word document outlining the procedures because it's a little bit more explanatory, a little bit more involved than I'm going through right here. You do need the ABS script, and there will be one posted along with the other information to get you started. And you should print out a sample spreadsheet so that you're familiar with, or you can compare yours with the date time format because it's so critical. Right. We'll provide links for all this information. The files will be placed in a zip file so that you can get that from the North American occultation page. And everything will be there that you need, including a sample ABS script. So you'll have things to get started. Now, Tony and I have got this pretty well figured out, and we certainly can help others figure it out if you need the help. A lot of times it's easy if we both have a copy of the videos, so we can kind of walk through it together at some point. Certainly want to thank and acknowledge Scotty for leading the way and pioneering the use of the time stamping technique, and for his original spreadsheet. As I mentioned, it was pretty short and sweet because Scotty knew what he wanted to put in the cells and nobody else did. So we had to kind of figure out what he was doing. We obviously thank John Talbot for fixing some issues with the spreadsheet and verifying for us that we're actually getting the information out of it that we expect. I think it's a nice addition, especially for those who are using digital video camcorders and time stamping their videos. John is into occultations. Yes, in fact, he's the Australasian coordinator for asteroidal occultations. He does my job in Australia and New Zealand. I don't know if he's IOTA member or not, but I know he is involved heavily in occultations. And that is the last slide. And again, the entry is actually a little bit easier than maybe I made it out to be here. Here's the blank sheet. And again, you start at step 9 and make sure it's a 0, and then enter the values that you've gotten as you went through each of these steps. I'll look at the text for a minute, and I can refer to a couple of cells or a couple of slides if I need to help anybody with any quick questions. But again, the Word document does a pretty good job of illustrating it. It has images on it, so you can see what we're talking about from this slideshow. Yeah, you do it a few times and you get the procedure down. I just make quick notes on a piece of paper as to what I'm recording, either pre-video, post-video, or the event video. And I know I need to get 2 times from each of them. One time is the time from the camcorder, and one time is the time from the VTI, the video time inserter. Of course, the video time inserter won't be present on the event video, so you only get one time from that. And then you need to have an analysis either from Ocular, or you can use just individual frames from Live Movie. Yeah, we could probably do that, Terry. A lot of times it's easy to maybe set up something with Ustream, because it's easy to send a live video stream that way, and then people can sit in the chat room. Or we can do it right from your website here. We can use this conferencing site to do that as well. We can set something up. There's a lot of things that would lend themselves to having some training done one of them is this, and obviously using other software programs. So that would certainly be something we can plan to do. But I would offer that people, or I would say that people should take a shot at doing this for themselves. I don't know if there's that many people right now using digital camcorders and using the video time insertion um, with it, because unless you're setting up more than one station, you'll insert the time from the VTI. You don't need to worry about the camcorder timestamp. It's only for those working with multiple stations and time stamping them all. So yeah, workshop would be nice. Yeah, yeah. The time format requirements for this are very explicit, because the program needs to know if it's AM, PM. It needs to know if it's Thursday, Friday, whatever. But it needs to know that information quite well. Oh, and I might mention, if you're doing time stamping, try and reset your camcorder to as close to universal time as you can beforehand, because that just makes everything a little bit easier. And make sure you timestamp. The pre-timestamp is done just before you go out, as close to going out as you can. And the post-timestamp is done as soon as you can when you get back. That keeps the drift down to a minimum. We tried that, Ted, and it didn't work out, because uh, I forgot what the reason was. John couldn't make it work with his formatting, and so it just didn't seem to work out. Yeah, it could be the Excel deal. That's right. Excel's time formatting is strange, so we couldn't do it that way as much as we wanted to. Right. So the date time format in Excel kind of limited us. Yeah, yeah, I guess that's right, Ted. But that's our limitation right now. We have not tried, I haven't tried anyway, opening this spreadsheet in Open Office to see if it would work in that program. I'm not so sure it will, but well, I'll give it a go when I get a chance. So let me turn this off.